This is the story of an ordinary ice cream truck driver who, with incredible ease, won over $100,000 on a famous game show. Until then, no one had ever won that much money on a game show. Now, everyone was forced to wonder, was it his luck or had he actually cheated? You see, back in 1984, this man went to an audition for the TV show, Press Your Luck. The man's name is Michael Larson. He loved the show so much that he traveled for 3 days just to be here and take part in it. But no one here had called him for an audition. When he got there, he saw that one of the contestants hadn't shown up. He'd even brought a plate as a gift with the show's mascot painted on it so he could give it to the show's producer, Bill. This man used to fix air conditioners in people's homes, and in the summer, he drove an ice cream truck. He cleverly snuck into the spot of the contestant who hadn't arrived. But in the middle of the audition, Sylvia revealed that the man had written a fake name. This man had cheated to take another contestant's place. That's when everyone found out his real name was Michael. As soon as the truth came out, he was immediately thrown out of the audition. But the show's producer, Bill, felt bad for him. He liked Michael's personality. He was a pretty interesting guy. He figured he's just a regular truck driver, a bit of a Joker-type character. It could boost the show's ratings. If a poor guy wins, it'll be great for the show's image. But the casting director, Chuck, said, "No way, a guy like that just won't work." Just then, there was a strange noise. Bill looked out the window and saw that Michael had driven all the way here in his ice cream truck, but now the truck wouldn't start. Bill was very impressed by Michael's dedication and courage. He ran over to his truck and said, "Be ready tomorrow. You're coming on the show tomorrow, alright? You're going to be a contestant, so you need to look good. Shave your beard and wear some nice clothes." Hearing this, Michael was overjoyed. But besides his truck, Michael didn't even have a place to live, nor did he have any nice clothes to wear. That's why he later went to a cheap store to find a good jacket. He secretly broke off a button and told the cashier the jacket's button was broken. He said, "I'll need a discount." With his clever trick, he got the price reduced and later he sewed the button right back on. The next morning, Sylvia gave Michael and the other contestants a tour of the studio. They saw all the different sets and then went to the game show area. Michael is obviously very happy, but at the same time, he's also extremely nervous. Michael tried to get a look backstage, but Sylvia immediately moved him away from there. Then, the contestants were seated in a room where they could watch the show until it was their turn. After a little while, Sylvia called for Michael and 2 other players and took them backstage, where they met the host, Peter, and the show's mascot. The 3 contestants were shown to their seats and the recording began with a round of applause. Peter talked with everyone, cracked a few jokes, and Michael, though a little nervous, talked about his family and his job. It was then revealed that Michael had traveled 3,000 kilometers to be there. Up until now, he's been making a living driving an ice cream truck. But after winning money from this show, his plan is to go on a long vacation with his family. Now, when Michael cracked a joke, the audience was delighted. Inside, sitting in the control room, Bill was noticing all of this, that the audience was laughing at the man's jokes. Now Bill was thinking that despite Chuck's objections, he'd done a great job by selecting this guy. Then Peter explained the rules. He would ask a question, and the first player to hit their buzzer would get to answer. The other players could either agree or give their own answer. They'd get points for being correct, but in this round, the players could only win a chance to spin, which would come in handy for winning prizes in the next round. A player named Janie gave the correct answer to the first question, and since both of the men agreed with her, everyone got points. On the third question, Ed gave the right answer, and everyone agreed, so they got more points. Michael gave the correct answer to the fourth question. Then, it was time for a break. Michael wanted to make a phone call, but Sylvia told him no. After the break, Peter had the contestants' chairs rotated to face the big board. The board was filled with different prizes and a light was randomly moving across them. The moment he saw the board, Michael's face lit up with a strange glint, as if he'd come here specifically for this round. The host explained that the board had 18 squares and each one concealed a prize. When a player hits the button, the light stops and they win whatever prize it lands on. But if you stop on a square with the mascot, you'll lose all the money you've won so far. Michael went first. He took 2 spins. On the first, he won $2,000 and on the second, $1,500 plus a free spin. But on his free spin, he landed on the wrong square. The light stopped on the mascot and he lost all his winnings. Frustrated, he swore out of anger. The production team wasn't happy about that because it was a family show. Entire families watched it together. They checked the tape and decided they'd have to reshoot his reaction. This made Bill a little tense. He thought that if Michael messed up again, everyone would blame him, saying, "You're the one who wanted to bring this guy on." Michael apologized for his action. The other two contestants also played and won $4,000. Meanwhile, Michael began to study the board's pattern very carefully. During the break, Sylvia took the contestants to the washroom. Michael said it was his daughter's birthday and that he absolutely had to make a call. Sylvia agreed, but no one answered the phone, so he returned to the show without having spoken to anyone. Since no one had picked up at home, Michael became frustrated all over again. After the break, the game resumed. Michael went first again as he had the lowest score. This time, he hit the button at the perfect moment every single time. He kept winning, first $4,000, then $9,000, then $9,000, and then $13,000. That's almost 12 lakh rupees. And then he got another spin. This made their team happy. Bill was also feeling proud of this. Even after winning so much, Michael refused to stop his turn and just kept on playing. In the control room, the team was completely stunned because no player had ever won more than 6 times before. But this time, their calculations failed. He kept getting extra spins every single time. Peter said, "Hold on a bit, don't lose all your money." But Michael didn't stop. He kept spinning again and again, reaching $28,000, which was a new record for the show. Seeing this, the entire team started to sweat. They were wondering how someone's luck could be so good that the game creator's entire calculation had failed. Now the crowd was excitedly cheering for him. But the production team was starting to get suspicious. Bill called for a break and Peter was summoned to the office. The makeup artist came to give the contestants a touch-up. Michael jokingly asked one of them, "Will you go on a date with me?" But she refused and said, "I might think about it if you win $50,000. In the office, Peter and his team discussed that something was wrong. They decided that Peter would try to scare Michael even more. "You'll lose everything. Don't press the button." After the break, Peter said to Michael, "You shouldn't be pressing the button like that, man. Your luck is running hot. Just take the money and run. You'll lose everything in your overconfidence." Michael just laughed and said, "Nothing's going to happen. You just watch." Seeing this, Bill got even more nervous. "Hey, what is with this guy's confidence? What does he think he knows?" He told Chuck, "Check Michael's paperwork. I want all of Michael's information before the next break." When Chuck checked the application, it was blank. It only had a phone number written on it. When he dialed it, it turned out to be the show's own number. He watched the audition tape and remembered Michael's ice cream truck. Chuck went to the parking lot and found the truck. Inside, he found IDs, license plates, and videotapes. A security guard gave him a crowbar and he pried open the truck and got inside. In the studio, Michael had now won over $40,000. The team was in a total panic, but without proof, they couldn't stop the game. When he crossed the $50,000 mark, Peter called for another break. Meanwhile, Chuck returned to the office with the papers he'd found in Michael's truck. Chuck saw a business card that read Lyle Roberts. He made a call and, posing as a clerk from the Justice Court, spoke to Lyle. He asked about the restraining order Lyle had against Michael. Lyle explained that Michael used to run a pyramid scheme, meaning he'd lure people with the promise of making money and sell them the scheme. When Chuck asked for more details, Lyle realized he wasn't a real court clerk, so Chuck quickly hung up the phone. Then Chuck checked the videotapes he'd taken from Michael's truck. At first, they seemed like Michael's home videos, with his wife and daughter. But further in, old episodes of the show were recorded on them. Chuck watched closely and saw that Michael had recorded the show's patterns. Back in the studio, Chuck saw that Michael was repeatedly pressing the button at the exact right time and winning every time. When he slowed down Michael's video recordings, he understood that Michael had memorized the light patterns. That's why he always knew when to press the button. Chuck called the production team and said, "Rewind his last 3 turns for me." He pointed out Michael's eye movements and also how he'd start to celebrate just before winning. Seeing this, everyone was puzzled, thinking, "But there are so many patterns. How could anyone memorize so many patterns?" Hearing this, Bill was stunned. He said the lights aren't random. There are only 5 patterns. If someone watches the show enough, they could memorize them. Bill admitted that Chuck was right. Michael was in fact cheating them. During the next break, Sylvia gave the other contestants branded t-shirts. She apologized, saying that because of Michael's long streak, they hadn't even gotten a chance to play. While Sylvia was busy, Michael saw his chance and started to wander around. He noticed that the makeup artist only refused his flirting whenever Peter was looking. Otherwise, she was fine with it. Since no one was guarding the phone, Michael called home. His wife answered, but she wasn't happy because Michael is a very irresponsible father. She was furious, but she still let Michael talk to their daughter so he could at least wish her a happy birthday. Just then, the bell rang, signaling the end of the break, and Michael hung up. When he turned around, he saw the mascot staring at him. The production team was worried, wondering what to do. You can't exactly call memorizing a pattern cheating, so they'd have to find some other way to stop Michael. Just then, Peter called and reminded them of the home player spin rule. Hearing this gave the team an idea. Peter announced to the camera that for the first time in the show's history, an episode was running over its allotted time. The recording could go on all evening. So far, Michael has won $70,000 and he still has plenty of spins left. He spun again and won some more money. Then Peter announced it was time for the home player spin. This meant that whatever money Michael won on this spin would go to a random audience member at home. There's a card on Michael's desk with that person's name on it. When he opened the card, it read Lyle Roberts. The team had intentionally put Lyle's name on the card to make Michael nervous and break his concentration on the game. Michael was startled to see the name, but he still pressed the button carefully. This time, he won a trip to a 5-star resort in Hawaii. Peter announced that Lyle would also get the same prize. On the next turn, they shone a bright light right in Michael's face and his eyes were blinded for a few seconds. He accidentally pressed the button without even looking, but this time, luck was on his side. But he also complained, "Don't shine that light in my eyes," and Jenny backed him up. After that, another break was announced. Meanwhile, the network's CEO came into the studio. He was furious that you people only created 5 patterns for this game, and he also asked who let Michael in. In front of him, Bill lied and said that Chuck let him in. That crazy guy. In the studio, Jenny started arguing with Sylvia. She said the show was giving Michael special treatment. You're all in on it. And forget that. How is this man talking on the phone? You're not letting us. After which, Sylvia pulled her away. Michael told Ed that the show's producers were playing with him because he saw Lyle's name on the card. Ed said it was probably just a fluke, just a coincidence. But Michael was suspicious. Now, Ed also started to think that Michael was up to something. Michael got very nervous and went to take a walk. He noticed his phone was missing. Just then, Chuck pulled him aside and asked who he was calling. Now Michael panicked and ran out of the studio. He went and hid in his truck, but saw that the lock was broken. He asked the guard, "What are you doing here? How could someone just get into my truck?" Then he saw a police officer who had just arrived. He said, "Sir, look what happened to my truck." But the officer cut him off, saying, "The studio just called for me." Michael saw that there were police officers standing everywhere, so he figured they were all there for him. He wandered around quietly, but there were police everywhere. In the end, he had no other option, so he went back into the studio. By mistake, he walked onto the set of a different show. Seemed he was a guest. When he started talking to him, he asked him to sit comfortably. Michael said, "I just want to have breakfast with my family. Only if I come on TV will they be able to see me." He also said that whatever he did in the last few months was for his daughter. Then Sylvia came over and dragged him into the right studio. During that time, Chuck went to the production team and was shocked when he heard that Bill had put all the blame on him. The team started arguing among themselves, but then an operator told that the audience was liking Michael very much. They are considering him a national hero. The CEO got an idea as soon as he heard this. He said, "Promote this episode." The U was revived as America's luckiest man, and Michael kept winning. Poor Chuck went to his desk and started crying silently. He picked up the phone he had taken from Michael and dialed the last number. His call went to Michael's wife. Michael had then crossed $1 lakh in the studio. This is a very old thing. As per today's standards, it would be crores of rupees. The team was happy, but everyone was shocked. When Peter said there was a special call for Michael, Chuck put Michael's wife on the live call. She scolded Michael and said, "I am fed up with your drama. Sign the divorce papers." Saying this, he disconnected the call. There was complete silence in the studio. Peter also could not say anything about this. Poor Michael was also terrified. Got up from my seat and took a break. The production team is worried and asks who connected this call. The sound technician said that I had received a note with Bill's signature and this was all a trick to take revenge on Bill. But the editor said that we will cut this scene. Keep the show going. But Sylvia said Michael was refusing to come back. Bill went to him and said, "We know what you're doing, but we can't stop you. If you want money, you have to complete the game." Bill and Michael, he called Michael a star, a national hero, and explained that life had given him a chance. Don't waste it. Michael finally agreed, but he had one condition. He wanted to call his wife first. When his wife picked up the phone, he realized he didn't even have the courage to speak to her. So he hung up the phone and went back to the show. In the next round, Michael gave his turn to Ed. The audience praised his act of kindness, but the production team was completely shocked. Furious, Bill smashed the gift Michael had given him. The team decided to air the episode just once and then bury the story, because while Michael had won a good amount of money, it wasn't enough to become a huge story. After Ed and Jeannie's spins, Michael had one final spin left. He decided to press the button with his eyes closed. 2 weeks later, Michael's family was watching the show. Lyle got angry and turned off the TV. Then he took the girl to school. Michael's wife turned the TV back on and saw that Michael had won everything. On screen, Peter asked Michael, "What are you going to do with all that money, sir?" To which Michael replied, "I don't know. This is a true story." After Michael's episode, the network added 27 new patterns to the game and set a winning limit for contestants at $75,000. But hey, our Michael hit the jackpot. So, what do you think? Did Michael do the right thing or the wrong thing? Be sure to let us know in the comments. See you in the next video.